Some ideas are just so radical, so completely mind-bending that you can't just say them. They have to be announced. They need a stage big enough to hold them. And in this case, that stage is the entire universe. Today, we're going to dive into this ancient text that has an idea just like that, a concept about reality that's 2,000 years old, and it kicks off with one of the most spectacular scenes I've ever read. So what you're seeing here is the Guangzhan Ding. That translates to the Sutra of Praising Light. Now, it was translated into Chinese way back in the 3rd century, but don't let its age fool you. This is not just some dusty old religious document. Nope. It's the record of a teaching so profound, so earth-shattering, or maybe I should say cosmos-shattering, that its unveiling literally shook the universe to its core. Right. So before we even get to the main point, the sutra sets the stage. And when I say epic, I mean epic. This isn't just some fancy introduction, It's the text's way of screaming at us, hey, pay attention. What's about to be said is a really big deal. And it all begins with this incredible moment of pure stillness. The text says the Buddha just settles into this super deep state of meditation, a samadhi they call kingly certainty. It's like the ultimate calm before the storm, right? Just this immense focus gathering before everything explodes with cosmic energy. And then, bam, it starts. From the soles of his feet, this absolute flood of light just erupts. The text says 600 trillion rays of light. Can you even picture that? And this light isn't just lighting up the room, oh no. It's flooding the entire universe, reaching every single world, every dark corner of existence. After the light show, you get a tremor. And we're not talking about a little earthquake. This is a cosmic quake. The whole 3,000 great thousand world system, which is basically the ancient way of saying the entire universe, all of its dimensions, it shakes in 6 different ways. Every single being, no matter where they are, feels this happen. So naturally, everyone comes to see what's going on. I mean, everyone. You've got bodhisattvas, these amazing enlightened heroes. You've got gods from every imaginable heaven, and then beings from so many worlds you couldn't even count them, as numerous as the sands of the Ganges River. The whole universe just stops, and this massive audience gathers to hear what's about to be said. So, okay, that's the setup. You've got blinding light, a universe-wide earthquake, and a massive audience of, everyone. It just begs the question, right? What possible teaching, what single idea is so important that it needs a special effects budget bigger than the entire cosmos? Well, the answer is a concept called Prajñāpāramitā. That's the reason for the whole spectacle. This is the key that's supposed to unlock the very nature of reality. Prajñāpāramitā. It basically translates to the perfection of wisdom. But we're not talking about just being smart or having a lot of knowledge. No, this is something else entirely. The sutra talks about it as the ultimate understanding, a direct, unfiltered perception of how things really are. And it's super clear about this. If you want to do what the heroes of the story do, the bodhisattvas, then this is the thing you absolutely have to learn. Okay, so what is this wisdom? What's the big secret? Well, the sutra boils it all down to one single, powerful, and often pretty misunderstood idea. So brace yourself, because this is the idea that shook the universe. The core insight is something called shunyata, or kong in Chinese, and it translates to emptiness. But hold on, this is really important. It doesn't mean nothingness or some big empty void. Not at all. It's a totally radical way of looking at existence. It's the idea that nothing, and I mean nothing, not you, not me, not the chair you're sitting on, not the stars, none of it, has a fixed, separate, independent existence. Everything only exists because of its relationship to everything else. And to really drive this point home, the sutra doesn't just tell you this. It shows you. It takes our whole experience of reality, piece by piece, and just systematically deconstructs it. It holds everything up to the light of this wisdom to show you, hey, this isn't as solid as you think it is. It does this with this almost hypnotic rhythm. It takes the 5 things that, make up a person, so your physical body, your form, that's empty of any separate self, your feelings, empty, your perceptions of the world, empty. All those thoughts and impulses rattling around in your head, what they call mental formations. You guessed it, empty. And even the very consciousness that's experiencing all this, that's empty too. And then comes the ultimate mic drop. After taking apart everything that we think makes us us, the sutra turns to the hero of its own story, the enlightened bodhisattva, and it says,
What is called bodhisattva is but a temporary name, just a label. Think about that. Even the hero of the story isn't a fixed, solid thing. They're a process, a temporary name for something happening. It's pretty wild. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds a little bleak, right? A bit nihilistic, but it's actually the complete opposite. Realizing that even the hero is just a temporary name isn't a dead end. It's the key that unlocks the most incredible quests you can imagine. So, if a bodhisattva isn't really a thing, but more of a label for a process, then what's the point? What's the purpose of that process? I mean, what's the goal for someone who realizes they don't even exist as a separate self? Their purpose? It's compassion on a scale that's hard to even wrap your head around. It's to liberate every single being in the entire universe from suffering. No exceptions, no one left behind. It is an impossibly huge, totally selfless goal. And to pull that off, you're going to need a superpower. And that superpower comes from what they call the 6 perfections. This is basically the bodhisattva's toolkit. You've got generosity, morality, patience, diligence, and meditation. And then there's the 6th one, the one that powers up all the others, wisdom, that Prajñāpāramitā we were talking about. And this is where you really see the power of emptiness in action. Think about it. How could you possibly be endlessly generous without completely burning out? Well, it's by using that wisdom to realize that the whole idea of a separate you giving, a separate gift, and a separate receiver is just an illusion. Once you truly see that deep interconnection, giving isn't a chore. It's as natural as breathing. There's no ego getting drained, no feeling of loss. That is the superpower. So, okay, why should any of this matter to us, 2,000 years later? Well, because this isn't just some abstract philosophy for a textbook, it's a genuine proposal for a completely different way to see the world and to live in it. And let's get one thing straight, because this is the biggest misconception. Emptiness is not nihilism. It is not the belief that nothing matters. It's the exact opposite. It's a kind of radical freedom. The whole point the sutra is making is that because nothing is fixed or set in stone, everything is full of potential. Everything is possible. So, if there's one thing to take away from this incredible ancient text, it's this. Reality isn't a bunch of separate, solid things bumping into each other. It's this dynamic, flowing, deeply interconnected web. And emptiness, it isn't some scary void. It's the open space, the potential where everything can happen. The sutra's most radical claim is that everything we cling to, everything we identify with, even our highest ideals, is just a temporary name. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. What names, what labels, what fixed ideas in your own life, about yourself, about other people, about the world, what are you ready to start seeing a little differently?